Hey guys, this is Elias with Softfly, and in this video we're gonna import JetEngine Custom Fields using an Excel file and WPL import. Now, the first step is to get our file, so I'm gonna choose this first option right here, alright, and upload my Excel file. Cool. Now I'm gonna select the post type I wanna import, which in this case is property listings. Now you can see I don't have any properties here, alright. So I'm going to choose new items, and then I'm going to select from here properties, right? So we're going to create new properties for each record in our data file. Now I'm going to continue to step 2. And here in step 2, we can see we have 106 nodes, and each one of these nodes is a property. Now we have this first one, all right? This doesn't look like an Excel file, and the reason for that is because WPL import is transforming this into an XML under the hood. Now, this gives us a lot of benefits for things we can do, but don't worry about it. Now, you don't need to know how this works to actually use it. You will see how simple it is, right? Let's continue to step 3 because this is the number of properties we have, and this data is looking good. This is the actual data we want. So let's continue to step 3. Right, so here in step 3, we just drag and drop the elements we want from this right panel into the appropriate import fields. For example, this is the title field, and this is the description field. Same as if we were creating a property manually here in WordPress, right? This is the title, and this is the description. Now, I'm going to drag and drop this property name element right here, and then I'm going to drag and drop this description one right here. Now, if I preview, you can see we have our data correctly set up here. So that's good. Let's continue. Then we have here our images. All right. And for our images, we have here this element that says gallery, right? And we have another one that says image featured. Now, the gallery field, we will import it using WPL import and the JetEngine add-on with this gallery field, right? We also have a floor plan field, but we will get there. So we won't be using this gallery here, right? We will only use the image feature element. And we're going to make sure that this option right here that says set the first image to the featured image is enabled. Now this is like that by default, but just double check that and you should be fine. Now the other settings, I'm going to leave them as they are, right? And I'm going to continue. But before I move on, I will preview and test this image just to be sure it can be downloaded. Here we have a little preview, but I want to click on the Run Test button, right? And it can be downloaded, so that's good. Let's continue, right? And here we have this custom fields area, but we will skip it altogether because we don't have any custom fields created besides those created with JetEngine. Now, here in the JetEngine section, we can see all of the fields our JetEngine add-on is detecting. Now, if I enable this right here, we will be able to see them. Now, here is our map address, short address. This is the date first listed, which is a date picker field, right? Let me show you here in the actual post type page. Text fields, like I showed you before, this is a date picker. This one is a select field, same as this one. Right, this price field is a text field. This is a checkbox field. You can select multiple values here, right? Square feet is number. These two are radius. And then we have this rooms repeater, which has 3 sub-elements. 2 of them simple text, and this one is a text area, right? But it's very straightforward. So we will get all of this imported. We will also import the gallery and the floor plan, and these 4 text fields from the contact tab. Now, the way we do that, it's the same as we did before. Just drag and drop the stuff in it. For example, let's take this map address, which is this element right here. And this is the one we're going to use for this field. Now for the next one, short address, same. Here for the date first listed, I could select a value from here, or I could drag and drop a value if I have it from here and use it here. Now, this field will use the str2time function in PHP, which means that any readable date format will be good for importing this field, right? Now here for the availability, we could select the value from this drop down, but that will mean that if I select here on market, all of the 106 properties will have the same value. And we don't want that because those properties have their own values, right? So let's set this with XPath. And what this means is basically that you can drag and drop one of these elements, right? And you see it here. And if you know XPath, then you know you can do all sorts of crazy stuff here too. Now, this is more advanced, and we do have other videos for this. So if you're more interested in these kind of things using these advanced features in WPL import, you're welcome to check our documentation at wplimport.com. And from there, click on the docs menu on the top. Now, of course, you can also check out the other videos in our channel, and we talk about more in-depth stuff there, right? So for now, let's just continue. We have here our availability field, so I'm going to drag and drop that here. And with this, WPL import will be able to import all of this data dynamically, right? So I'm going to do the same with the listings type, right? Right? And then I'm going to drag and drop the price like so. And here for the amenities, we have the same case. We could select here all of the values we want, but all of the properties will have the values we select here. If we wanted to use dynamic values, we will need to set this with XPath. Now, if you hover on this question mark, it will show you how to import these values using XPath. Now, in this case, it says specify the value for multiple values, separate them with commas, right? So we have here our amenities, and as you can see, right, they are separated with pipe elements, not commas. So what can we do here, right? Well, we could drag and drop the value here and use one of these cool features I told you before we can use with XPath. Now, one of them is the ability to run PHP functions in our fields, right? So there is two ways you can do that. For example, you could use the function editor right here and write custom functions that will work in your file, right? But WPL import has some hidden functionalities and some pretty cool stuff that you can use on your imports. And I'm going to show you one of them right now. Now, what I'm going to do is to use an inline function, which is a function that's already built in within WPL import to replace our pipes with a comma, right? So this function, let me zoom in right here so you can see it. I'm going to open up a bracket here. I'm going to type in str replace, right? I'm going to open a parenthesis, and I'm going to type in the value I want to search, right, in my text, surrounded by quotes, which in this case is a pipe, right? I'm going to close these quotes here. I'm going to type in a comma, and this comma will separate this value from the next one, which is the value what we're going to use to replace the first one with, right? So the value we want to use to replace that first element is a comma. So I'm going to type that in here. I'm going to close it, and I'm going to use another comma to separate these values. So we have here the first element, which is the value we're going to look for, the second element, which is the value we're going to use to replace this value, right? And the third element, which is the text, we're going to look for this value and replace it with this second one, right? Which is the amenities field, right? This data right here, right? So all of these pipes are going to transform into commas, right? So I'm going to close this parenthesis right here and the brackets. And with this, our inline function should work just fine, right? So let's copy this. I'm going to show you a very cool trick we use in WPL import. And that is, we can test our functions here. We can paste the functions, right, in the content area and hit preview. And there you go, guys, right? We have our amenities separated with commas now instead of pipes. Now, this is pretty neat. So I'm going to Command C here to go back to how it was. And this way, I know my function is running well, right? And that it will work and whatnot. So let's continue. We have this field the way we wanted, right? So here we have our square feet, which is here. Cool. Then bathrooms and bedrooms, same situation, guys. Let's use XPath, right? So we have here this bathrooms value, and for the bedrooms, we have it here. Cool. Then we have our rooms element. Now we have a couple ways we can import repeater elements, right? We have the fixed way, which is when we have multiple elements separating each one of the repeater groups, right? So, for example, we could click here on the Add Row button, and here we have an element, here we have a second one, and here we have a third one, and so on and so forth. Now, this will work, again, if we have these values separated already, like name 1, measurement 1, and description 1. Then 3 more elements that will say, right, name 2, measurement 2, and description 2. And then a third one right here that will say name 3, measurement 3, and description 3, right? So this is not our case. I'm going to show you how is this structure, right? So as you can see, we have this entrance hallway, right, which is the first room, and it's separated from the kitchen diner by this pipe symbol, right here. Now, then we have the living room, and well, it seems like we don't have a fourth one right here, but this one has only 3, right? So then we have here the measurements, and this is the measurements for the first element, which is the entrance hallway. Now, this second one is the measurements for the kitchen, and then this description, right, is the first one, which is for the entrance hallway and whatnot. Now, this is pretty common, right? But as you can see, this is the first record, which is the first property. Now, this one has a lot more rooms, right? So if we use the fixed repeater mode, well, we could maybe import the hallway, living room, and dining room, but all of the other elements, we wouldn't be able to import them, right? So I'm going to delete this, right? And then I can't select variable XML because this is not actually an XML file, right? I'm going to select variable CSV because although WPL import is transforming this file into an XML, this is still an Excel file, right? And CSV, it's very similar. So we're going to use the variable CSV mode, right? And I'm going to make sure my separator here is the same as in my import file. Now, it is a pipe by default, right? So I'm going to drag and drop the name element right here in the name field. Then the room's measurement right here, and the description right here. Now I'm going to select this option, right? And this option, well, it says if the value of the element or column in your file is blank, it will be ignored. Use this option when some records in your file have a different number of repeating elements than others. Now, this is our case, so I'm going to enable this, right? And with this, WPL import will be able to create all of these sub-elements and subgroups in our repeater, which means that it will create right here, right, multiple subgroups like I'm doing right now. Cool. So we have everything we need with the rooms repeater. So we're going to continue here with our media gallery. Now this media gallery, it's right here. So I'm going to drag and drop that in the import field like so. And I want to make sure that I'm going to use the same separator I have here in my import file. Now in this case, we're going to use a pipe again, right? So I'm going to type in here a pipe, right? With this, WPL import will not load all of these images, right? And it's going to attach them to our properties here in this media tab under the gallery field, right? Cool. So I'm going to enable this option so WPL import can look through the media library for existing images before importing new ones. Now I'm going to match this by URL, and what it's going to do, basically if WPL import is going to download an image, it will first check in the media library. Now if the image already exists, it will use that image, right? And this is useful if you don't want to clutter your website with a bunch of duplicate images or whatnot. which in this case, I don't think there are gonna be that many duplicate images, but in case there is some of them are lying around, well, WPL import will take care of them for us, and that way we won't end up with those duplicates, right? Now here for the floor plan, we're gonna do the same. I'm gonna enable that option. I'm gonna match that by URL and drag and drop the floor plan element into the import field. Cool. Then we have our contact tab. I'm gonna drag and drop the agent name, which is me, right? Then the phone, email, and link for more details. Cool. So guys, with this we have everything we need in the JetEngine section. So let's just continue. All right, and here we have our taxonomy section, and I'm gonna enable this tenure taxonomy, which I have right here. So I know for a fact that there is only one element here, so I'm gonna use the first option. But if you had multiple values, you could use the second one, or if your taxonomy is hierarchical, you could use one of these options, right? But in this example, I'm gonna roll with this one. Now the property of the week, it's the same case, so I'm gonna drag and drop that, and that's it. Now here for the other properties option, I'm gonna just skip all of this because the default values work just fine for me, and this is just standard WordPress stuff like the post status, post dates, slug, author, and whatnot. So I'm gonna leave it like that. And we already talked about the function editor, but if you want to know more about this function editor and how to run custom PHP functions on your import file and your import, well, just go to our website at wplimport.com and click on the docs menu. From there, select import and look for the inline PHP doc, right? Now guys, all of this is looking really good. So I'm just gonna go ahead and continue to step 4, right? So here on step 4, we have our unique identifier, and this unique identifier will work as a way that WPL import has of identifying and separating which record is which, right? So a good unique identifier is usually an ID, maybe, or if you're importing products, maybe an SKU or something like that. That's always a good unique identifier because it's a value that's unique for each record in your data file, right? So you can think of this like, for example, if we have two houses that share the same name, well, WPL import will create the first one, right? But when it comes to the second one, if we use this property name as the unique identifier, like I said, WPL import will create the first one, but for the second one, it will say, oh, so it's the same house, right? And it will import the data from that second home into the first one, which is not what we want because they are actually different, right? So guys, if you don't want to maybe overthink this too much, just click here on this auto attack button and boom, that's it. WPL import will look for the right unique identifier and use it for your import, right? This is a very cool feature. And again, if you don't want to overthink it, just click on it and roll with it. Now, if you have trouble finding this or using an import or whatever other step we previously went through in the import template, well, just don't worry about it, guys. Check out our docs, check out our videos in our channel, and if not, contact our support team and we will be more than happy to help you out. All right? So these settings are mostly for when you need to rerun this import. Now, this will control where you want to create new properties that second time or not. This one will control whether you want to actually update the properties already in your site when you rerun this import or not, right? And you can even choose which data to update because maybe you only want to update the images, right? So there is a lot of flexibility there. You can do pretty much whatever you want. Within those things you can do is to remove or modify properties that are no longer present in this import file. So if, for example, you rerun this import and some of these properties are I don't know, maybe they're gone from the import file or whatever, well, you can choose to do certain things to them, right? First, you need to select which properties you're going to target because you can choose properties that were created by this import only, right? or you can choose properties that are in your site, no matter if they were created manually or by another import or whatever, right? So just choose the one that's right for you, and once you do that, you need to decide what happens with those properties, right? So you can send them to trash, you can maybe change the status to draft, private, or something, or you can set some custom fields. For example, you could maybe set the status of the property to sold or not available or something like that, right? So we have other docs on this. It's very useful. Or, you can just go ahead and straight up delete those properties, even the images and files attached to them, right? So that's up to you guys, right? But if you're interested in this feature, you can click on this little YouTube icon and you will be taken to a video where we talk a little bit more in depth about this feature, right? So I'm not gonna do that in this example, and I'm not gonna use these scheduling options either. But these scheduling options are very cool for when you need to rerun this import automatically. Maybe you have these properties coming from a provider, right? This provider gives you maybe a feed or an URL or FTP to get your data, and this happens maybe weekly or maybe every day, and you can set this import to run into whatever intervals of time you want, right? So if you want this import to run every single day at 12 a.m., you can do that, and we have great documentation and videos on this. So if this is something that interests you, same as before, check out our channel, check out our website, wpimport.com, and go nuts there, right? Now, all of this is looking really good, so I'm just gonna click here on the continue button, and I'm gonna run this import. Now, this import, guys, it's gonna take a minute or two while WP import unloads all of the images, so I'm gonna pause the video here and come back when it's ready. Alright guys, so our import is complete. Let's see if our properties came in okay. And we have 106 properties, which is the number of properties we expected. Now, let's take a look here in the front end of this site. Alright, so here we have our properties, and they are looking really good. Now, let's open this one up. So we have here our gallery, which is always a good sign. Alright, it's good. All of the images seem to be here. Now, here we have our title, the price, the short address, bed, baths, and square feet, location with the map, description, amenities, the rooms repeater, and the agent info. Now, let's take a peek here on the edit post page, right? So we have our title, description, the different taxonomies. Then we have here our featured image, the gallery. Then we have here our listing info with the map address, short address, the date first listed, the availability, listings type, and well, all of the other fields seem to be here. The rooms element is here too. So yeah, there you have it, guys. That's it. That's how you import JetEngine Custom Fields with an Excel file using WP All Import. Now, I really hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want to know more about how to import or export other JetEngine custom fields, or maybe if you're using Metabox or ACF for your custom fields, you can import and export those with WP All Import and Export too. Now, be sure to check out the other videos in our channel and our website at wpimport.com. See you next time.